Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope you're all having such a cozy and chilled Sunday afternoon, getting ready for that week ahead, but also recovering from the past week as well. So we are going to be doing a little restock video today, but first things first, it is early morning. I am absolutely starving and so are both the children. So the first thing that we're going to do is start off with some breakfast. Now this is a really quick and easy American pancake style breakfast. Now with these you can mix up the dry ingredients and keep them like in some sort of bag or pot or something, and you can literally just add the wet ingredients as and when, so you've always got a breakfast there and ready to make up. Or you can also kind of make a load up in advance and freeze some of these. They are really good. They keep well in the freezer as well, and that was exactly my intention on this day. But honestly, I ended up bagging up a couple when I'd finished, but as soon as my husband got home, he was hungry, he wanted a snack, and the first thing that he did was go straight for the pancakes. So even though I did want to freeze some and have some ready to go breakfast throughout the week, they actually all went on the exact day that I made them because they're just so delicious. So the first batch that I made didn't turn out too well. I know when I'm using this little pancake pan not to put one in the middle because it burns every single time, but I must have just had a lapse in judgment. I must have just completely forgotten, because of course I put one in the middle and of course it burnt. And because the pancake batter is quite thick and quite sticky, I tried everything under the sun that I had to try and flip these pancakes over, and the only thing that would actually work was just a knife. It was the only thing that was small enough to get underneath and actually flip them over without it making an absolute mess everywhere. Now it's time for my first giant cup of coffee of the day, because anybody who knows me knows that I cannot physically function without a cup of coffee. I've also recently started having collagen powder in my morning coffee. So you can put this in other things, it's just, I know it's the only thing that I am guaranteed to have every day, and I didn't want to waste it because I am bad for buying new things, like new supplements, and then just completely forgetting about them and leaving them in the cupboard. So I thought putting it in my morning coffee would be the best way to go because it's part of my morning routine. I can't honestly say I've seen a massive difference from this just yet, but I have only been taking it for probably about the last 2 weeks, so I will keep you posted.
Yeah, I know you're supposed to be breakfast.
Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing a couple of different bread recipes. I think I've pretty much perfected bagels, if I do say so myself. I also feel pretty confident with focaccia, so I think we're going to be doing a garlic and rosemary focaccia today. I also want to do some homemade burger buns, which I've tried one time before and it went absolutely, it was just awful. It really didn't go well at all. Fingers crossed that today it does actually work out because I am making homemade burgers tonight. We'll just not have any burger buns. And then I know it's not exactly bread, but it falls kind of within that category. I want to make some cinnamon rolls. I'm thinking if I do a big batch, then we can have them for breakfast throughout the week. So for all of the recipes that I do today, I'll try and leave everything in the description down below. So if you do want to try and do them, then you have everything there that you need. So the first thing that I like to do is make sure that I've got a clean kitchen. Now I know I'm going to be cooking and baking all day, but I do like to clean up as I go and basically reduce the chaos as much as possible. Otherwise I tend to get overwhelmed and everything just goes south and it's just really not good. So that's why I always try to make sure that we start off with cleaning absolutely everything. Obviously I need the bowls I've already used to be able to do my baking, so it's just a lot easier if I take a couple of minutes out and make sure that everything's washed up, dry it, and basically just set myself up then for the next thing that I'm baking or cooking. So first of all, we're starting off with the burger bun recipe, and honestly these were so incredibly easy to make. Now I'm not saying that I'm an absolute novice, but I'm also not a pro cook either. I have struggled in the past with trying to make bread and making burger buns, and obviously it's one of those things, the more you do, the more you practice, the better you will get. But this recipe honestly was so incredibly easy compared to quite a lot of the others that I've tried. I'm not even joking when I say my husband was taken a little bit back when he actually realised that I'd made these, because they turned out perfect. He just couldn't believe that I'd made them. He genuinely thought that I'd bought them from a shop. Now I'm not saying that they're not a little bit time consuming, but honestly if you've got the time to do it, then I would urge you to, because they were the easiest, simplest burger bun recipe I think I've ever tried. They turned out so incredibly delicious, and honestly I was just so proud of myself with how good they turned out. But honestly this will be my new go-to recipe. Of course, with it being fresh bread, it will only last a day or so, it won't last very long. I think I had these in the cupboard for maybe 4 or 5 days and they were starting to turn, so I had to throw them away. But I think as well, if you make these up, you can also freeze them just like any other bread. You can put them in the freezer and just defrost them on the day that you want. Obviously cut them in half, toast them, and I don't really think you'd be able to tell the difference. But this is definitely going in my recipe book and is my new go-to. So while that proves, we're going to get started on our farmhouse rolls. Now these are really good for sandwiches throughout the week. If you want to use them for some sort of dinner throughout the week, they're really good and really handy to have in the cupboard. And it only takes a couple of ingredients. Again, it's one of those things that it will only last a couple of days with it being fresh bread, and then just defrost it and thaw it out before you use it, and then you've kind of got it whenever. But these were so quick and easy, and honestly, any recipe that is quick and easy, anything that just has a couple of simple ingredients that you have in your house all the time, such as flour, oil, water, and maybe some salt and some yeast. It's just recipes that I love, things that you don't have to go out of your way to buy special ingredients for. And fresh bread is one of those that once you make it, you want to have it all the time, because the difference in the taste from bread that you can buy at the shop to bread that you can make at home is honestly unbelievable. Start on my bagels. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to be big-headed, but I feel like I have perfected the bagel recipe. Now, originally I found this recipe on TikTok. I cannot remember the original creator because I've been making them for so long. If I can try and find the original creator, I will try and link her video in the description box down below. But saying that, I have since changed the recipe. I don't add quite as much flour. I actually make the bagels a lot bigger than what she did. And I've also changed the proving time of the recipe, just because the ones that I did from the original recipe, they were small, they were quite hard and chewy, and they were just not very nice, if I'm honest. I feel like the basis of the recipe was there, but the actual size of the bagels themselves, plus the proving time, and like I said, I think there was a little bit too much flour, so I have made some little tweaks and adjustments myself to kind of make this recipe my own. Now, on that note, this day it actually seemed to go wrong. I don't know what it was about this day. Also, we're doing some cinnamon rolls and that really did not turn out right, but we will get to that in a little bit. Today, for some reason, it wasn't going as it should have. Now, I will show a little clip after of how they usually look when I do them. I don't know if it was the added pressure of videoing myself. I don't know if it was because I felt like I was rushing and I didn't have enough time. Honestly, I'm not sure what it was, but today everything just seemed to be going that little bit wrong. Even though they did, these bagels still turned out delicious. I still followed the recipe step by step. Like I said, I'm not sure what went wrong. I did try to do some cinnamon rolls. Again, cinnamon rolls seems to have a love-hate relationship with me. First time I ever made them, they were absolutely incredible. I don't know if I just seem to put extra care and attention into them, but honestly, they were so good. Ever since I've tried to make them, even box mix ones from M&S, they have just gone wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if it's the recipe. I don't know if it's me, but they just constantly keep going wrong. Now, this recipe said that it was foolproof. I was reading the comments of people saying it was so easy. It's the easiest recipe they've ever done for cinnamon rolls. And I honestly don't even remember where the recipe's from. It was just one that I found online. Potentially may even TikTok again, because most of my recipes seem to come off TikTok. But oh my goodness, no matter what I tried, it just wasn't working. Now, I think the thing with this is it did say to put it in the fridge to do a slow proof. It said a minimum of so many hours, but for best results to leave it overnight. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't leave it overnight. I left it for just past the minimum amount of hours. I then seen a comment on this recipe saying once you've taken it out of the fridge, leave it to prove at room temperature for another hour, because that's the only way I can seem to get this recipe to work. So I did follow the actual comment and not necessarily the actual recipe. But oh my goodness, it just led me down an absolute dark path with these cinnamon rolls. Now next I made 2 batches of scones. Now scones are really easy to make and really easy to adapt. Now the first batch that I did were for ploughman scones. Now I simply just use whatever cheese we have to hand, so we always seem to buy in red Leicester. I personally think that mature cheddar cheese would be beautiful in these, and I always add a little secret ingredient, which is just a little bit of English mustard. It just pairs beautifully with the cheese and it just adds that extra little something. Now like I said, I turn these into ploughman scones, so as soon as they're ready I literally cut them in half, put a little bit of butter, some ham, some more cheese and some Branston pickle, and oh my goodness, it is beautiful. It's a nice little change to just a plain old sandwich during the week. So for my second batch, I wanted to do a cherry and almond scone. So I simply just add a little bit of almond extract, some chopped up cherries. I use glacé cherries. I essentially just kind of measure with my heart, if I'm honest. And then, like I said, the basic recipe is the exact same. You can adapt scones so easily and add whatever you want. They are really easy to make, they're really quick, and again, just a lovely, simple same day treat that you can make, and it doesn't take long at all. Obviously with scones, there's no proving or anything like that. Literally takes a couple of minutes to make up your base. And then you just pop them in the oven and they're absolutely delicious, still warm, with some butter, with some jam. Just so quick and easy to make. As you can see, they were flat, they didn't rise properly, there was some sort of issue with the yeast and it activating. It was flat, it was chewy, it tasted unbelievable if I'm honest, but the actual texture was just, oh my goodness, it was awful. It was so bad. It's one of those things that every autumn, every fall, even Christmas, I want a cinnamon roll. It's one of those recipes that's not going to defeat me, and I will make sure that I come back in fall with a good recipe. So my loves, that is going to go ahead and conclude today's video. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, just some really quick and easy restock recipes, things that you will have in your home. So if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you prefer these kind of cozy content videos, or if you would prefer more of an upbeat kind of testing viral trends, trying viral foods and things like that. I really do hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.